Today I would like to talk about a lot of different things that I have learned in my ethnic study class. The first thing is how intersectionality is expressed within the Black community and my conviction on different topics. Now, everyone carries some type of stereotype that have been learned through education, environment, and family, but also throughout experience. Now, I would like to share a small story. When I was a little girl, my best friend was from Kenya, and her mom was very dark skinned. And I remember I borrowed a jacket from her mom, and when it came time to wash it, my grandma, knowing that she was illiterate and does not have much education, have made a comment that, wow, her mom must be really dirty because she was black. When I was a little girl, I didn't really understood the concept of racism, but now that I grew up, I realized that, well, first that jacket bled out, it was because of the ink, but also that a lot of stereotypes are rooted from ignorance. Now let's dive. First, black men intersectionality. Black men are usually extremely persecuted by police, and no matter their age, they can be as young as 9 years old, and just because they look a certain way, because they're either tall or appear muscular, they have been discriminated upon and carried by the stereotype of black people being animalistic, creating fear through social media. And the other stereotype would be, oh, black people are thugs or gangsters, but they fail to realize that society has confined them into certain poor conditions. For example, a lot of people cannot, it is the law that you cannot go to school outside of your zip code. So, in a lot of poor communities, schools are not funded for scholastic reason, but mostly for athletic reason, especially in the black community. Black kids are pushed to become athletes. They are not pushed to pursue a career in engineering or medicine. So a lot of times, they work hard towards this athletic goal. And mind you, a lot of NFL teams and NBA teams are owned by white people. But once they get hurt, then they turn into poverty because they do not have a lot of backup plan. On top of that, it is very hard to find great opportunity to success, as black people are often denied a lot of jobs. And sometimes when you do not have any way to get a job because of the way you look, you have to reside to the underground business in order to meet ends meet and feed your family. Second, I would like to talk about black women's intersectionality. Now, even black women during slavery used to be frowned upon how they look, their hair, their style. And then an example of Sarah Bartman, white women became very jealous. They became scared because men all around have started to see black women as an overly sexualized object. And that is when the dress with the big poom have came out, because white women wanted to appear more voluptuous. And to this day, we can see it in the media, we can see it across our society. A lot of white women are trying to assimilate to black women by getting BBLs, tans, lip injections, because today, and I truly believe that black women became the new perfection and symbol of beauty that everyone wants to assimilate to, which I think it's not fair because it is another way of robbing somebody from their culture and trying to be like them. It just doesn't make sense to me. Another thing would be LGBTQ in black community. Now, back in the slavery time, a lot of black people have found refuge in churches, deep Christianity, and their faith is deeply rooted within their community. And that is why a lot of black people today are very homophobic. And I do know even some black men that said that they will never get a prostate exam because they think that is extremely gay. And because they do not accept that and that might touch their manhood. Now, LGBTQ communities are usually persecuted, but when it comes to black LGBTQ communities, they are not only persecuted by other races, but also within their race, and quite often found themselves lost with no way of acceptance. Now, the other intersectionality that we'll address is mixed race. Today we are living in an America that only sees black and white. And if you are mixed, then you are lost. Your white side might not accept you, and your black side might not accept you. And you feel that you are not accepted in any community. And I do think that we do not have the proper language and lingo to address mixed race today, as a lot of mixed race people are just put in two categories just because of how they look. They're either white or they're black. Now, the one thing that I will speak upon my convictions is and after talking to a lot of my black American friends, I do not think that black people in America should be considered African American. And this is why. I think that just like Hispanic, that there is Hispanic and non-Hispanic, I do think that there should be black and African black or American black. Just because there is a lot of Aborigines Australians that have, or a lot of actually, not just Aborigines Australian, that have been in different continents thousands of years before, thousands of years BC, and that was way prior to slavery. So a law and immigration has occurred within hundreds of years in the US. So we cannot categorize all black people being part of one community, even if they did not come from Africa. And another thing is, a lot of African people actually frown upon American black people simply because they do not accept their culture, and they do not think that it is fair, as they have went through completely different struggles. Today, black Americans, they do have access to free education. They do have access to some type of welfare. But in Africa, a lot of African people today in Kenya, Lesotho, Zaire, they still live in huts. They are still persecuted there is still places where black people cannot go to because segregation is still in Africa today. It's expressed in a whole different way than that it is expressed in the US. And they are still struggling to just find food or even just water. So a lot of African people today, they do not accept that black American call themselves African Americans. And after I spoke to a lot of my friends, they also agree that they consider themselves Black American because of the slavery area, the segregation, that culture is really just American Black culture that is not celebrated nor shared by Black Africans. And my other point would be that a lot of people do not know that there is a lot of civilization in Africa that are one of the oldest civilization, and they are not black. They are very light skinned, and one of them would be Berber that dated more than 1,700 BC. They come from Egypt, and me as a Tunisian person, for example, which, side note, the whole African continent name has came and been inspired by Tunisia, and I don't think that because I'm from Tunisia and I'm considered Northern African that I'm automatically considered Caucasian, because even though I am mixed, and that is why I think intersectionality within the mixed race is a very lost concept, that I think it is offensive to consider Tunisians Caucasian. Our culture is so rich that we do not assimilate, or we don't have any connection to American Europeans in any way. My grandma, for example, was actually part of a Berber tribe. She was living in the Sahara Desert in tents, selling bread on a camel, and I actually would like to share a picture here. So that's my grandma. And I truly hate, I guess maybe hate is a strong word, but I truly disagree that people have this concept that Africa is a mono race, but Africa is so diverse. And I might look white, but I truly consider myself African American. And that was that. Oh, side note, I just want to show my Tunisian outfit real quick. This actually came straight from Tunisia. This is a traditional jibat. I wanted to wear it today to celebrate. And we cannot forget about the babouche, which is what Aladdin was wearing. But this class have changed the way I see the world, the way I watch movies, the way I analyze everything. Now when I watch a commercial, a lot of people just see it as a commercial, but I'm just like, ooh, and that's a stereotype over there. Ooh, that is the type of message that they're trying to convey to people, to brainwash them into believing a certain type of stereotype. So this class have been absolutely amazing, and the teacher, Miss Mandy, definitely changed the way I think about things in so many different ways, and I am just extremely thankful. Thank you.